We'll go to our next speaker, Vahid Kaiser, who is the president of Maxim Corporate Finance from Great Britain, and he's a pioneer in Islamic banking in the West, and he is author of the famous book about Islamic financing. Please, floor yours.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and the young generation of the future of this country, good afternoon. Khair Likon, Assalamu Alaikum. I think it's going to be a daunting task to speak after Datu. She had a very entertaining and excellent speech. Congratulations for that. I think she has sold Malaysia very well. I've been asked to talk a little bit about public-private partnership, and considering the audience, I will also ask to explain briefly exactly what the public-private partnership is. A public-private partnership exists when public sector join with private sector entities and enter into a business relationship to attain a commonly shared goal that also achieves objectives of the individual partners. What is PPP, the public-private partnership? I've just put down some bullet points for your consideration. I'm sure these things are not new to you, right? Or I'll just remind you that what exactly is a new approach to the infrastructure within the PPP. To maximize the value of private sector investment and involvement in infrastructure building process, coordinate infrastructure planning and provision, develop market capacity, educate the communities, shift mindsets regarding government's role in certain services and capabilities, a long-term partnering relationship between the public and private sector to deliver certain services. With public-private partnership, the public sector will focus on acquiring services at the most effective or the most cost-effective basis rather than directly owning and operating assets. The public services can be delivered in a more value for money way by making optimal use of the public and private sector's expertise, resources, and innovation to meet public needs effectively and efficiently. What are the key characteristics of private sector involvement? It focuses on output, optimal public-private sector risk allocation, which is very important, long-term contracts, and whole-of-life approach to service delivery. There are various PPP models that we would look at, but I've just mentioned here three. The first one is the DBFO, as we call it. That's a design, build, finance, and operate. And the second one is DBO, which is design, build, and operate. And the last one is BOT, build, operate, and transfer, which is quite common in Asia and Middle East. Why go for PPP? It's one of the areas that one could focus on. In fact, if we had Islamic finance session during the Afghan Economic Forum, I would have loved to talk about SCOOP, which is an Islamic investment instrument, which is famously known as the Islamic bond. And I think Dato will probably give me a big smile on that, because I think if you look at the capital markets in Malaysia, they have about 56% of the capital market where we have the Islamic bonds, or the Sukuk. And the reason, it's not because it is Islamic, the reason because it is economically more viable. It pays much more return as compared to the conventional bond. And there are reasons for that. It focuses on real economy as against the financial economy. And what we are suffering today is because of the outbursts, because of the negative impacts of the financial economy. I don't want to go into more details on that, but I'm sure you gather my point. Why go for PPP? It's a traditional funding resources have become quite scarce. I think the bank lending has become quite scarce. I think the autonomy that the bank managers have or previously had, that has been taken away from them. I think there has been much more risk management process in a stringent manner that has been put in place, And this is why I think the credit has almost dried up in the market. And this is where I think PPP comes into picture much more aggressively, and I think it has a huge role to play. In short, P3 is a tool that can help governments meet demands for development of modern and efficient facilities, infrastructure, and sectors such as tourism industry. What are the key benefits we have within public-private partnership? Lower cost, high level of service, possibly, deliver value for money through synergies, innovation and spread of good practice, flexibility of approach, better and more effective use of resources, expedited project completion, project cost saving, reduce risk, improve quality, and the list goes on. Let's look at public-private partnership importance for the tourism industry. As you've heard from my earlier speakers and the excellencies, I think tourism has become a very important industry. It's not a sector anymore. It has become a huge industry. And I think one of the top 5 employers worldwide are connected to the tourism industry, which is a huge number. Significant role in the economic and social development of communities. It plays a sector that brings a lot of social, cultural, and economic change through business opportunities as well, and it can also lead to foreign direct investment in a big way. It's important foreign exchange earner as well for many economies, as the Malaysian minister has just mentioned, and she has given you the mind-boggling figures. I think there are many other countries you could look at. Look at Dubai, for example. Dubai, about 22 years ago, it was not even on the world map. They don't even have a specific, to the best of my knowledge, tourism ministry. But they did it in a very indirect manner. They invited the public by subsidizing the airfare, by launching the airline, by providing the facilities that the tourists look for. Obviously, in my slides later on, I will go through that. But I think it is important that you position yourself, you research what exactly the market needs, before you really open up for any service, whether it's tourism industry, whether it's financial services, or any other sector. I think the buyer will only come to you if you are receptive. If he or she feels that he or she is being welcomed, then they will come. Otherwise, you can do anything on earth, it will not incentivize them. How do we build up a sustainable tourism industry? I have quite a crowded slide here, and I will not run through all those bullet points, but the central message on this slide I want to give is, I think anything you do, whether it's tourism or development of any other service, research is the most important thing. The local, the technical analysis, the market analysis, the ground realities, that's absolutely critical. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here when I say situation analysis. Understanding the host community. I think the host community involvement is absolutely important. If you have tons of visitors and if the host community is not being very receptive to them, they will not make a second visit. They will not be your running ambassador. They will not be your mobile ambassador. So I think you have to prepare the host community from all angles in order to create a sustainable tourism industry. The destination access. Again, it is very important. If you want to travel from US to Kazakhstan, for example, or from UK to Kazakhstan, or from Malaysia to Kazakhstan, or vice versa, I think at the end of the day, any traveler would look at the time it takes, the convenience that it has. So therefore, it is important that you have a very easy access if you really want to promote the tourism. The transport facilities, the geographical location, the aviation, attracting airlines, providing them the right incentives, not sort of cutting down on the fare, but just charging the right fare so that it gives incentives to the tourists who are coming to this country, for example. Understanding the visitors. It's again another very important angle, and I would like to touch upon these. I think the life stage, especially the young families, obviously they have plenty of time on their side, less worries relatively, and they would like to travel and take their kids to new tourism spots. So therefore, it is very important to understand exactly what their needs are and what they're looking for in a new destination. The demographics, attitude and values, the experience seekers, the type of holiday, what sort of holiday can you plan for them to attract their attention. Short breaks, such as spring breaks, Christmas breaks. Purpose of travel, visiting friends and relatives. Destination management, from social trend analysis standpoint. Understanding current and desired visitor market. The development of strategic planning. Market segmentation. These are some of the very important points from the visitor's perspective. The destination product and experience. Again, you have to position yourself looking at the visitor or the tourist perspective as to what he or she would be looking for when they come to your country. And therefore, if you have done the market analysis, if you have done the situation analysis, if you have looked at the likes and dislikes, then you will position yourself in order to cater for their needs. There are some other key factors, such as economic and social impact. Obviously, it can have a huge economic impact, in particular. It may not have that great social impact immediately, but I think in terms of economic impact, it can have a huge impact, and it could be one of your main foreign exchange earners as well. Industry skills and development, arranging festival and events, looking at and coinciding it with the vacation period, building of the public infrastructure, public health and safety. This is one of the most important and key points that I would like to highlight here. Because if you do not have appropriate medical and health facilities available, if you do not have appropriate safety environments such as drinking water, and things like that, then obviously it can put off the tourist. Culture and heritage, another very important angle that we'll have to look at. Conclusion. I'm conscious of the time, and I would like to restrict myself to 10 minutes. I would like to finish by saying sustainable tourism development involves an integrated whole of community approach. It's not just the job of tourism ministry. I think the whole community has to back it up. The whole community has to buy into this. The whole community has to think that you are going to be the host. The whole community has to think that what you do when a guest comes to you. And I think Kazakh people are very hospitable, pleasant people, very friendly, and I'm sure they will make a great tourism destination in Kazakhstan. I would like to end my presentation with 5 P's for sustainable destination planning, development, and management, and these are key. Policy and planning, and I'm sure you must have heard this many times before as well. Predictive modeling, performance monitoring, performance improvement, and performance reporting. With that, thank you for your attention, and enjoy your afternoon.